serious buyers and a collection of curious onlookers turned out for today's auction, which listed some 180 lots, covering everything from tin sheds to mining equipment. Most of the bidding was done by the dealers, in scrap metal and used machinery.
20's my man.
A sign of the times was the sight of a BHP company selling off steel stock at discount prices.
Good grade, sir.
$100 a lot now to go to one bill worth of gentlemen.
Yep.
Mining shuttle cars worth new some $150,000 went for as little as $300. But these are outdated DC models, and the buyer who snapped most of them up said he would scrap them for their hydraulic parts. At the end of the day, about $50,000 had been added to BHP's coffers. A tiny sum compared to the capital cost of the original mine, but apparently enough to cause a company spokesman to rate the auction very successful.
$70 each, quickly.
For many apprentices in the building industry, the recession has been devastating. No longer employed, they see their grasp of newly learnt skills quickly slipping away. Over 100 apprentices are in this situation. The Hunter Development Board scheme is a means of keeping at least some of them in touch with their trade. This team of bricklaying apprentices is working on a girl guide hall at Belmont. Teams of carpenters are now engaged on other community projects. As well as on-the-job experience under qualified instructors, the apprentices will continue their tech training. The pilot program launched in the Hunter is the first in Australia. Its organisers hope that its scope can be expanded in coming months. The original schedule for Mr Whelan's visit to Newcastle today did not include the Burwood Beach sewage treatment plant. But the outcry over the pollution which has recently closed Newcastle beaches triggered a last-minute change to the minister's plan.
Well, I've had a long-time complaint from a local member who's representing the local people in the area about the outmoded nature of the sewage treatment plant itself. Whilst I was in the area, I decided that I'd look at first-hand to assess the problem myself.
Can you promise any hope of an improvement in this area?
Well, I think following representations from Mr Face, we're well in hand to alleviate the problems suffered by people in the area. Shaft sinking will commence for the sewer outlet itself. Plans, I've spoken to the President of the Board this morning and asked that those plans be expedited. I'm looking towards a scene that maybe in the next 6 months we will see some works to alleviate the problem, which I might say
that promise has been enduring
within 6 months. He would give no commitment on when the $30 million project might be finished. And in fact, the Water Board engineer was nonplussed at the stage. He said specifications for the initial shaft would not be ready until next year. There was also some difference of opinion on how long sewerage has been fouling nearby beaches.
The problem arises because there's been a tidal change, a wind change, and it arises only when there's an excess flowing through the sewage system.
But really, the President of the Water Board himself said that people have probably been swimming in this for some 50 years. It's only now just being pointed out to them.
No, that's not so. The same today, for argument's sake, after 2 days where it has had a higher chlorophyll level than required, today it's quite clear.
Well, it was a very hard game. Owen was really G'd up for the game, and Gordy came out, and really the only plays like that I've seen a couple of times in a season. It always seems to be against Newcastle.
Ian, you're often referred to as the sixth man in the side, first change off the bench. How do you handle that specific position? Is it a specialist position?
Well, to a lot of teams they have a specialist six-man position, and it is a hard position to play because that person's got to come into the game, inject a bit of fire, try and score a few quick baskets or get a bit of team momentum. So in that role, it's a very hard position to play. It's also hard to play because you've got to be able to read the first 10 minutes of the game.
Obviously, you'd like to work your way into the starting five, though. That's the ultimate.
Well, it's the ultimate to be, recognised as a starting player. But I'm happy that, Dave and Donnie are doing a good job. I like to put a bit of pressure on them to keep them honest, and if we win the games, all's well and good.
This week you've got Brisbane at home, a very, very important game to the Falcons.
Well, yeah, they're on the same number of points. They're on 12 points as us, so we're equal fourth with them, and well, if we win, it'll give them another loss, which will take us up to fourth clear.
Confident of the win?
Oh, very, very confident.
A fire started in the engine room on the Mackay. All that remains today is the charred shell. On Thursday, an insurance assessor examined the boat and recommended it be replaced and not repaired, but the final decision lies with the Government Insurance Office. In the meantime, a replacement launch was rushed to Newcastle from Sans Souci in Botany Bay. It's the Brian K. Doyle, one of two normally based there. It's a 13-metre clinker steel boat powered by twin turbocharged Cummins diesels. The Brian K. Doyle was built at Bullaroo by T.W. Woods and was put through its paces on Newcastle Harbour today.
The march began from the Toronto RSL club in the Boulevard, moved into Victory Parade and gathered for the service in Gossett Park. President of Toronto RSL, Mr Alan Bickle, commenced proceedings with a brief welcoming speech and words about the meaning of Anzac Day. Then he called on Lieutenant Colonel Thompson, representing the armed forces, to deliver a special message. He reminded those present that Australia's active military service certainly didn't end at the conclusion of World War II. Not many memorials in Australia have been dedicated to wars in Malaysia, Korea and Vietnam. But that's exactly what Toronto RSL were responsible for today. The dedication, formally made by Father Neville Small, of a memorial to those thousands of Australians who lost their lives in the more recent Asian wars and other conflicts.
Thanks, John. Good morning. It was a little bit chilly out here at the moment. Temperature down a little to what we've had over the last couple of days. The sky is reasonably clear. It looks like there's going to be a few showers later on this afternoon, but for the moment, quite fine. It's going to be a nice and sunny morning. Waves, I'm afraid, non-existent. It's flat city at all of the city beaches this morning. Nothing at all. The tide is, of course, just on high, and things may improve over the next 2 or 3 hours, but I don't think it's going to make all that much difference. As the tide runs out, we may see waves around 1/2 metre at most of the open beaches. I'm certainly sure we're not going to see anything too much bigger. If you'd like to go for a swim today, all of our city beaches are definitely quite safe. There's no risk about it. You can go for a swim anywhere, no trouble at all. And now the forecast issued by the Bureau for today. A cool day with the chance of a shower or two, but sunny periods. Northwest to southwesterly winds at 30 to 40 kilometres per hour. Seas slight to moderate. on a low swell but rising tonight. Newcastle and Scone both expecting a top of 19 degrees. And the outlook for tomorrow, south to southeasterly winds with a few showers. Well, that's the story for today. Definitely flat city out here. Nothing happening, not even a little ripple most of the time. Safe for the swimmers, no doubt about that. Weather-wise, a few showers developing this afternoon as low pressure moves up the coast. It's moving northeast from Gabo Island at the moment, and those southerly winds are going to extend right along the coast during today. A few showers headed our way. Not too bad a morning coming up though. Have a great day, whatever you're doing. We'll be back again tomorrow morning.
This is the Moonlight Ensemble, a group inspired by the palm chord orchestras so prevalent at the turn of the century. All the members of the ensemble are classical musicians with extensive training and experience in theatre and musical comedy. Their music carries you back to the days of afternoon teas, penny farthings and spats and silk. But just how did they get together?
We decided there wasn't really any of this kind of music happening in this town at the moment. The style of music is very romantic and elegant. It's music from the turn of the century through the 20s. And we just thought there was a gap in that sort of area, so it was something that we could offer that was a bit different.
The group knows they probably won't make the local top 40, but will they be a success nonetheless?
Well, we hope so. We're giving our first performance at the ball that's on Friday evening, the telethon Cancer Appeal Ball. And so we're hoping that with that start, people will get to know we're around in town and will get to like our music.
Steve Mortimer, the Australian international halfback who was the driving force behind the Bulldogs' 24-18 victory over Parramatta last Sunday, has withdrawn from tonight's match with a shoulder injury. Mortimer last night joined second rower Steve Folkes, lock Mark Hughes and his brother Chris, a centre, as casualties from Sunday's match. Tony Davies will replace Steve Mortimer, while Peter Mortimer, Jim Lease and Phil Gould will move up from the reserve grade side. Penrith also has lost two players through injury. Hooker Roy Simmons pulled out with a shoulder injury and he will be replaced by Steve Martin, while Graham Jennings will stand in for second row forward Matt Goodwin, who has a chest injury. Canterbury are riding a 5-game winning streak and will go into the match as firm favourites tonight. Penrith has lost 2 of their last 3 games.